The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting Inc., ESPN 1510, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
This is KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit digital resource. We're produced by Charitable Communications. We'll tell the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them and how they work with the profit community. KC Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Happy New Year. It's a great new decade. Telling lots more stories about the great organizations and the people that work and make them go. And we are blessed to have in the studio not only human beings, but canine beings. And we are sitting down with Great Plains SPCA. And we have with us Keegan Prentice, marketing coordinator. Hi, Keegan.
Hi. Happy to be here.
And Ashley Flores, who's the director of animal behavior and training.
Hello.
And tell us who the furry friend is.
This is Chevy. She is a black American Bulldog mix, and she's pretty phenomenal. What makes her so phenomenal at our shelter is that during a routine spay procedure, she was rescued from an abandoned property, and she had a deadly complication likely related to a clotting disorder. To save her life, she needed an emergency blood transfusion. And none other than our famous Simba now, who looks very similar actually, he gave blood and saved her life. So we've got Chevy here, who had a blood transfusion and survived and made it. And then we also have Simba, who is a blood donor at Great Plains SPCA, and they're both available for adoption.
How cool is that? So a rescue dog who rescued a rescue dog.
Yes.
Yep. So lots of rescuing. And we're so glad to have Chevy. And I'm hoping people can hear her kind of in the background. I know I can hear her. And she's very happy prancing around the studio here. So we'll be sure to get pictures so everybody can enjoy and maybe find her forever home.
Yeah.
Great Plains SPCA. Catch us up. You've been in the community for a while. Tell us a little bit, about all those things. We can hear her tail in the background on the desk.
Yeah, so Great Plains SPCA is an animal shelter and adoption center located in Merriam, Kansas. We offer a ton of different programs aside from adoption too, which is super cool and makes us pretty unique. We have an awesome behavior program, which is what Ashley oversees, who's here with us today. We also offer our Hero program, which is a program that does outreach within the community, doing things like making sure that animals have relief if they're being chained, they have the proper resources to live outside if that's their situation, and just providing resources to their owners as well. And of course, we have our adoptions, which is how we find all of the homes for animals who come to see us. You can also volunteer with us and help walk dogs, take care of cats, do a lot of really cool things. And fostering is a huge part of what we do as well that allows us to care for as many animals as we do.
You all have such a robust array of services that you do. It was, as I was prepping for the show, I thought, oh my gosh, we could spend a whole show on heroes. We could spend a whole show on, how does a rescue, how does an adoption work? And we'll get to some of those. But I'm particularly interested, Ashley, in being the director of animal behavior and training. What does that mean? What does that entail for you?
Sure. So what I do is I help rehabilitate the animals that come to the shelter that need help. We get quite a few animals that are sent here to Great Plains because they have behavior issues. And so families are at their wits' end. They don't know what to do. They can't handle their pets, and they don't have any other option but to relinquish them to us. So I help with the rehabilitation process of animals that display different types of aggression. And then I make sure that we fit them with the right kind of family that can work with them on the behavior modification that they need. We also have our fostering program is really terrific. And what we do is a lot of our animals that have behavior challenges, they need to go into a home so that we can do the behavior modification in the home. But a lot of times people aren't going to come to the shelter and say, hey, I want to adopt a dog with behavior issues. So what we do is we try to put them in homes. So, and then they work on the behavior prescription plans that I give them. And then once the dog is ready to go, we make him available for adoption. So we are always looking for fosters. If anyone is interested in fostering any of our pets, and it doesn't have to just be for behavior, it can also be for medical. We have animals that that have surgery and that just need to stay in a home while they're recovering. So that is something that we definitely need.
What kind of background does one have to have as a director of behavioral and animal training?
Lots of training. So I am certified through the CCPDT, which is the Council of Certified Pet Dog Training. It is a nationwide training certification, and it's 2-3 years of training and classes, and it's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. And then after you've done everything that you need to, you got to take a 4-hour exam to prove that you know what you're doing. So,
and in the training that you provide,
yes,
what's kind of the philosophy? I know it runs kind of the gamut. I mean, there are people who are really opposed, for example, on what is traditionally called a choke collar.
Sure.
So what is it that you all do? What's your
So we provide
focus?
Positive reinforcement training. So there are different types of training methods, and I believe that positive reinforcement should be the very first thing that you go to with any animal, because that helps 90 to 95% of them immediately before you go to any other type of method. So that, we use positive reinforcement just because we feel like it's the nicer of the training methods, and it creates a bond and trust and mutual respect between the pets and the trainers. So that's what we use.
And what's your success rate? You say a lot of folks turn these pets in who they just can't handle them. So
Sure. Yeah.
how do you get them ready in your boot camp?
Sure. So first of all, we are very successful. I have a couple of people working under me as well. And so there's a team of us. There's a team of 3, me included. And so what we do is each type of aggression has a different type of behavior modification and plan, and we work on them. And as far as success rates, so if you look at Great Plains SPCA, you'll find that we're normally in the 96 to 97% live release rate. But of those, less than 1% of those are behavior euthanasias. So we are very successful in the behavior modification and rehabilitation of our animals and placing them in the right place. But every once in a while, there are pets that we just can't help. So, but luckily, those are a very, very, very small number. Like I said, less than 1% of our animals coming in are euthanized for behavioral reasons.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
And we see almost 6,000, maybe more, maybe a little less, animals a year.
And of the 6,000, how many are adopted out? All 6,000? I mean, give or take?
Yeah, so give or take a little bit. We don't have our numbers for 2019 quite yet, but when we do, we'll be sharing those. But we do also work with 9 municipalities. So there are certain towns in our area that we are the animal shelter for. So Overland Park, for example, is one that we serve. They don't have a facility where their animal control takes pets. That's our facility. So between about the 6,000 animals that we see each year, a bunch of those are adopted out, but then we also do have a good chunk which are owner returns. So if an animal control officer brings a pet to us, we want to do everything we can to find that animal its home if it had one before that. So between the two, we adopt or we return to owners as much as we can.
How are we doing as a community or your coverage area with microchipping and wearing collars and stuff? That always seems to be an issue. Are there more people doing it?
More people are doing it today as they're getting more educated, but not everyone is doing it. So we do know that if an animal is microchipped, there's an over 90% chance that you're going to get reunited with your pet. If you just have a no microchip or no licensing, then it is like less than 3%. So it is important that they are microchipped. It is important that they have their ID tags on for you to find your pet. But we are definitely getting better, and our facility requires that all pets that come into the shelter be microchipped. So they are all microchipped before they leave the facility. So our pets, if they get lost, we're constantly able to find who they were supposed to go to and stuff like that.
You had mentioned you always need volunteers for fostering.
Yeah.
How do you vet a foster family. I mean, I would be a little hesitant to just give anybody off the street an animal. You don't know how they're going to react.
Right. So first of all, we ask them to volunteer and we get to know them and we get to know their pets and their animals. We also do in-home consultations. We get to know the family. A lot of times we give them kind of like easier cases before we give them harder cases.
Practice.
Kind of warm them up.
Right. Warm them up because we don't want to give them anything too tough and have them feel uncomfortable and not want to be there. But also we also need to train them to get them ready to work with harder to adopt animals. So a lot of times they'll take some puppies home or they'll take a dog for a weekend or, we do like small, what we call furloughs.
I like that. They're on furlough.
Yep.
So we do that initially and then we kind of build up and see. And if it's just not a good fit, then we give them another pet or we don't have them volunteer. But that's usually not the issue. Most people volunteering at an animal shelter are amazing in every way. So.
And we do have a great community of foster families. A lot of times once one animal graduates from being in a foster home, they'll take another animal for us. So we have a lot of really experienced, really awesome foster families too.
Now, on the flip side, if I was fostering, man, I'd have a hard time giving it back.
We call that foster failing. So that happens sometimes for sure too. And of course, those are loving homes and we're always happy if we can connect someone through our foster program too.
Let's chat a little bit about the Heroes team and what they do.
Yeah.
Share with us a little bit when they go out. What's their focus?
Absolutely. So the Hero team's focus is mostly making sure the animals that are living in the community are safe, happy, and healthy. So that could look like anything from us distributing food to families who can't pay for it. That's through our pet food pantry. So we give out tons of food per month to families who can't otherwise afford it. And that helps keep pets in their home because they have the resource of getting food from us. Our Hero team also provides things like shelter and straw to keep animals warm who live outside, doing things like giving a more humane way to keep an animal chained outside. So traditional metal chains aren't that safe for animals, and we'll provide better options for them as well. So it's really just about going out in the community. We respond to calls if we get them, and occasionally when it's a case of a stray animal living outside, we'll try to trap them and bring them into our facility too. And that team is extremely compassionate. They've seen every situation you can imagine and are very, very patient working with all kinds of different situations, both animals and humans.
How does the adoption process work for you all? Are you open all the time? Tell our listeners if they're dying to have a pup or a dog, any canine companion there.
So we are open Wednesdays through Sundays. Our Wednesday through Friday hours are 12 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays we're 11 to 6 p.m. And we do same-day adoptions. You will have to fill out some paperwork, go through a bit of an interview process so we can make sure we're matching you with the correct animal for your family. But everything can happen same day. We usually say between 45 and 90 minutes is how long you'll spend at our shelter, depending on how many animals you want to meet. But we love having people come in, and our adoptions team are really fabulous at making sure that we find a good match for you and your family.
And how are the accommodations that you house your guests while they're staying there waiting for their furlough? In other words, you see these horrific pictures that another national organization always shows, and it's like, oh my God, how could somebody keep dogs that way? So give us a little picture, be our eyes. What are canines like Chevy staying in when they're waiting for their forever home?
Well, we are incredibly lucky to have such a great facility. Our kennels don't have the bars like most shelters are associated with. So we've got nice shoreline kennels, and they're really nice. And what's really cool about what we do is we do a lot of enrichments at our shelter. And the enrichment program is just a way of giving the animals some mental stimulation. And what we try to do is we try to activate the 5 different senses of animals. So we do anything that can be stimulating through sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. So we'll play different kinds of music. We'll get little extracts in water and spray them so that they can smell them. We do different noises. We do different, what we do, an enrichment box. This is a great one for everyone. If you have an animal that can be destructive, is we get like a cardboard box and we put treats inside of newspaper and peanut butter and let them find it. So they have to work for their food, and that can alleviate any frustration that they may have. So this is what's really great, I think, is that not only do we have a great facility that they stay at, but they get a lot of enrichment, and it's really wonderful for them.
So how can our listeners get in touch with you to find out about all this stuff, either to adopt or volunteer, donate? Where's the best place to connect with you all?
Absolutely. So our website is a great resource that has more information about all the programs we've talked about today. That's greatplainspca.org. If you want to see some really cute and fun pictures of animals, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's a great place to just kind of see who's available. But our website, for sure, if you're looking for an animal, get on the website, see who's there, and then come by and see us in Merriam. That's really the best thing you can do. And of course, donations are always appreciated. As a nonprofit, we really depend on the donations, whether that's monetary or items. You can donate toys and things for our animals too.
Down at the shelter?
Yep, down at the shelter.
Which is where?
Which is in Merriam, Kansas. We're located just off 35 on Antioch Road, and you can find our address on our website as well.
And look for the cute logo. And we will be showing Chevy's picture because Chevy needs a home. Chevy has been a delight. I've been petting Chevy under the table here, and we'll have pictures. And we're so glad that you all are doing well and taking care of those animals that just need to find that next spot in their lives. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.